Hey everyone, I'm back and I have a haul and some status updates, I guess, on what I've been doing. So, as you guys may or may not know, I did buy 3 sets of acrylic markers. I've shown those in a previous haul video, and I also bought these digital download swatch charts from an Etsy seller. Um, these, there's like five different types in here. There's 120 on this swatch sheet alone, and the sets that I purchased, one of them is 120, and then the other 2 sets are 240 markers. So it requires 2 pages of this to do the larger sets. So I did swatch it out on not this particular pad because this one is too small. It's A4, and so my printer requires 8.5 by 11. So I bought a larger pad of this same Bristol Honeymoon smooth paper because it's nice and white and smooth, and printed it. I cut it down and then I printed it to this paper. And this is the first swatch. I think I showed this all to you already. This is the Artix brand, and this is the 120 set. I have actually put my markers in different containers because I did not want to store them the way they had them initially. Okay, so this is my Artix bag. It actually has labels in it. I didn't put them on the markers yet. I think I'm actually going to put them on the cap of the end cap, not the end cap, the top cap of the marker on the side, so that if I ever separate the two, I shouldn't because these markers will dry out if you leave them open. I'm thinking about putting them on the cap. So I just inserted that here. It comes with a pocket. This is purchased from Amazon. I bought this many, I don't know when I bought it. Years ago. It was intended for colored pencils, I believe, or something like that. And I didn't use it because what I saw when I opened it, which I should have looked at when I purchased, was that, and here's it from the side, by the way. So you can see that it's pretty thick. So it was meant to hold a lot of pencils or pens, markers. Originally, when I had purchased it, I like my pencils, if I'm going to do storing color pencils, to be stored individually, not together like this. But I had purchased a very large, a different version of something like this, where each pen has an individual slot. That's great for pencils, right? If you want one to a slot. It's a lot easier to take a pencil out. But for these, because these markers are so thick, it was hard to get them down into that individual band. So if you're going to store these type of markers, these thick ones, these are not as fat as, say, a Copic marker, but I'm going to pull one. So you can see a Copic marker is oval in shape as opposed to round. And so these are easier to get in and out of the band when they're not individual bands. So they have skinnier elastic, and it makes it a lot tighter to pull in and out. So I had to return the ones that I originally bought for these for that reason. So just keep a lookout for that if you're going to go this way. And the reason I took them out of the box is because, not in this instance, because these were slotted inside of their box. They actually had their individual slots, but the other ones were not like that. So, and I'll show you. So I have them to a slot here, and because there's only 120 markers, they are ordered by the swatch chart that I have just shown you. Okay, so those are the Artix brand. And now that I have my swatch chart, I can take this off the ring and actually compare them to the other 2 brands that I have. So here's one of the pages for the other brand, the Languo, and it's 240. And for instance, you see 43, 34, and 76. I did them in reverse order here. It doesn't matter as long as they're close together, right? Grouped closely together. So you can see there's a similarity in the colors. These 2 colors are very similar. And these two colors are very similar, but these two are not. So there is some overlap in the markers that I bought, very slight, but then there's some that are not, okay? So as with this set, I think I mentioned this, there's a lot of browns in here. There's 3 columns of browns in this 120 set alone. So you can see where they were focused here. The Langlo set, there's 240, and I can't show them all together, but here is the first swatch card. And what I chose to do was, they're ordered, maybe I'll turn it to the side like this. They're ordered by the column, so it continues down to the second page. So that's how I would look at it, right? And in my marker case for this one, that's how they're ordered as well. So one of the problems I have with this is that when I put them all in the case, which is huge, by the way, again, this is a order from Amazon. My case for these markers will not zip. Okay, so I actually have to separate well, my figure was I put a band that you usually use around a journal. I think this is a snap journal. I don't know what brand it is, but I bought a bunch of elastics years ago. And I just put it around the bag because this bag won't zip. It just will not zip because the markers are too fat. And you can see they're not as big as what I thought was the case. I thought the one I'm going to show you after this was going to be the problem child. But it's not. The white ones from this brand, because there are so many, look, you can see all the tops of the markers. And you don't store it this way. You lay it the other direction, horizontally, which I can do. This bag does come with a shoulder strap, but I don't need it right now because I'm not traveling with these. And you don't want them stored this way anyway. So I need to separate these out. So I've ordered an exact, well, not exact. I ordered the same pattern, but in a smaller size so that I can take some of the markers out of this case and put it into the other case so I can actually zip it closed. So what I'll probably do is just take maybe the, let's see, maybe half the markers, the cool colors maybe, I don't know. No, the warm colors, because there's fewer of those. Sorry, no. Yeah, the warm colors, starting with the violets, the pinks, the reds, yellows. I'll put them in the smaller case that I ordered, and then these will remain in here. And then it should allow me to zip it closed. So you can see this little elastic band. That's because it won't zip closed. And I've tried many times. So and I can link those bags if you're interested in purchasing those for whatever reason. Obviously you can use it to hold pens or pencils. If you have these large sets, it makes sense. If you are one of those people who prefers them to have each like individual slots. And the reason, this particular brand, this Guangna, which is the third set that I have also finished swatching, look at the storage for it. There's little pockets, so there's no slots in here, and I like order. I don't like them to be like moving around like that, because when you take out a whole bunch like to use or to color with, you got to remember where to put them back so that you can make sure that you can find them again easily. And that's my problem, is I want to be able to find my markers easily. So if they're sliding around, they're not going to be sitting in the spot where I expect them to be, or know where to put them when I'm done. It's a lot easier to be able to tell that when you have a slot that's missing a pen. And all my slots are 2 to a slot. So so with these, again, I just showed you those. The colors in this set are pretty balanced in terms of the amount or the range that they have. I wouldn't say that there's more of one than the other. I don't know why, but for some reason they have all these fluorescents, okay? And I would have preferred more grays, but that's just me. But they have like this whole line of fluorescents in here, and even the 2 metallics, which I don't even use. I don't think any of the other sets had metallics. Oh no, that's not true. The Arctics had metallics. And between those 2 brands, I like the metallic color better of the Arctics brand. Now, Another thing, Artix does sell individually their markers. Lango does not. They sell them as packs. And then the last brand, which is the Guangna, they also sell as packs. They do not sell individually, that I can find. Maybe on a Chinese website you can find them, but I don't shop at those for personal reasons. Well, for security reasons, actually. The third set here is in a different book, and it's actually able to zip closed, and it's purple, so I can tell the difference between the two sets, the two larger sets, because the pattern of the bag is a different color. So these are, see, it is zipped all the way. I thought, again, this one was going to be the problem child, but it was not. It zipped just fine, which surprised me. And you can see these are all the greens. And they are ordered. There's 20 in the slots here in one page. So when I look at it on my swatch chart, if I'm looking at the greens, there's 20. There's 10 here and then another 10 here. So I know where the marker is going to be. I can find it pretty easily. And so if I were to number the pages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, all the way across, then I'd be able to find the marker pretty easily. So that's another reason why I did it. I didn't want to go hunting pecking, because that, to me, that wastes time, and I don't like that, especially if you're wanting to blend. So, you know, if you're wanting to blend these markers, you want to pick them out ahead of time and have your colors ready for blending, because you won't have much time in between for it drying to do the blending. So that's another thing I've learned by swatching. So swatching helps you learn your colors a little bit. It helps you learn the opacity. I had some mistakes. I had to use some whiteout, you know, for lots of these. Luckily, I didn't have to start over this last one, because I'd learned by then what not to do wrong. Okay, so that's all the swatching, now all the biting stuff, and hopefully I'll remember to put 1210 at the begun in the description so you can see just the haul if you're interested. So I've been down a rabbit hole of buying things. I have been looking at a lot of markers, not buying markers, but then I also got into this whole looking at gouache. And gouache is very similar to watercolor, except it is opaque. And so over the holiday weekend, Labor Day weekend, Dick Blick had a sale, and I purchased my first set of gouache. Now, this is a professional set of gouache, so it is more expensive, but because it was on sale, I didn't mind buying it. I am not going to practice with this set. I'm going to purchase a cheaper set, probably off of Amazon, to learn it a little bit better. And then when I feel comfortable, I will use this set. Now, I bought the set of 10 14 mil tubes. Gouache has I guess a maintenance factor to it. So you want to keep it wet if you've put it in your pans. And so I don't want to open this until I'm ready to actually start playing with it. But this is your primary, not your primary set, but it is you know, your regular set of 10 that you can mix colors with to get any other convenience colors, as people like to call them. I'm not an artist in that, I would say. I'm just dabbling. I'm a crafter, I guess. A lot of people like to use that distinction. I don't really care. Whatever you want to call yourself. These are the other 2 packs that I bought because they were on sale for a good price. This is the Seascape set, and then the Botanical set. They do have one other set I wasn't interested in. And the colors are here on the back. I'll just hold it up if you want to see it. This does have the light fast ratings for them. So if you're interested in selling your art, you can do so safely if all of your other materials are whatever. I don't know. I saw something the other day that kind of begged a question for me, but so those are the gouache sets that I bought. I did buy brushes, but they're not here yet. I'll show you those when they come in. You might be interested. I don't know. And then I bought a gouache palette. Now this is bigger than I thought it was going to be. This is the Airtight watercolor palette. Now I bought it for the gouache, not for the watercolors, because I have a palette for that. You can see there's like these slanted wells here, and this does come out. So if you ever wanted to clean it, you can. So you can just pull it out. So you put your gouache in here. You can mix colors together. And there's a mixing palette up here. But you'll notice that in this, well, maybe you can't see it, but in the groove here in the lid, there's a silicone seal. So it will help keep the gouache paint wet. And I plan to also maybe use this, which I bought on Amazon. These are sponges. This right here is a sponge, and this is palette paper. This is a refill for this particular brand's wet palette. And a lot of people use this for like modeling, painting little modeling figurines or whatever. I'm going to cut this down and put it in the palette. Actually, it's too wide. I think, to see if that will help keep the gouache wet for a longer period of time. And you don't want to just use faucet water. You want to use distilled water, because you can actually have a chance of mold growing in your paint. So they don't recommend use just regular water to spray to keep it moist. So that is my palette that I bought. And I also bought a brush tray or a brush rest for when you're painting or when you're drying out your brushes. This is actually a soap dish. So you would... Do I have a brush? I don't have a brush out, do I? Okay. Here, just pretend. Well, this is a paintbrush, but it's a wet one. So if you were using your brush, you would lay it like that in one of the grooves, so it can just rest. And your paint, you don't want to rest your paintbrush like this, because if it's wet, the water will drop down into the ferrule. If you had an expensive brush, you can ruin your brushes like that. So keeping it horizontal like this is pretty good to dry, and that's why I bought it. There's no water in here, but with this kind of rest, it keeps your brush nice horizontal. It's not tilted, and it won't touch, something else. And so here is the brand of the soap dish, Accordion soap dish. It says soap dish, but on the side it does say holds makeup brushes. So if you're washing your makeup brushes, same thing. If you invest a lot of money in makeup brushes, you don't want to ruin your $30 brush, right? So let it dry with the water not running towards the ferrule. Okay. So I got this off Amazon. It's a Japanese. It's won a design award last year. Bronze design award. And it's silicone, so you can wash it easily. It does bend, but you don't want to flex it too much. So that's what I bought. And I did buy... It was a 2-pack, so what can I say? All right, last thing, or things, is I went down this whole road of buying mechanical pencils and lead. Okay, so I bought some kneaded erasers, which you guys know what kneaded erasers are, right? It's a soft eraser. And so I bought this brand because it was pretty cheap and different colors. They all do the same thing. It doesn't do anything different with a different color. I bought this brand of 0.7 mechanical pencil because I found some lead that I was interested in using for sketching. Rather than using graphite, I wanted to try out using this color pencil. Okay, there's blue and red. This will smudge less actually than graphite. So if you're sketching and you run your hand over it or your finger over it, it doesn't smudge as much, or actually it doesn't smudge at all that I don't think about. So this is 0.7. Uni, it's actually a Mitsubishi brand, in case you guys didn't know. Uni has been making pencils for a long time, as well as electronics, apparently. I actually have the set of their colored pencils. It's a very big set. Not my favorite. But they make a really nice color pencil lead. So if you already have 0.7 pencils, which I did, you can put it in there And I did like those, but then I went down a rabbit hole of mechanical pencils. So bought some of those too. All of these have different colored, well, have the red and the blue leads. This one has a purple. This one is actually by Pilot. I do not recommend this because it's not erasable. So do I have a piece of paper? Hold on one second. Okay. This is the Bristol smooth honeymoon paper that I was using. It's some of the scraps. So I'm just going to write. It's nice and dark. So if you're just fancy, you know, writing with colored pencil, you can. But the problem is it doesn't erase as well. You see that? It did go away a little bit, but it doesn't go away entirely. But if I use the other brand, which this is, oh, I even have a mint blue. I don't know what color it is. I think this is the dark blue. This is the uni. You see that? It's a lighter color. I think I have another color in this one. Yeah. So these are both uni brand right here. One is a mint blue and the other one is just a regular blue. It erases much better. So if you're doing sketching and you make a mistake, you can erase it much easier. You can see less of it than the purple one, right? So I don't recommend this Pilot Eno if you're going to use it for sketching or you want to erase entirely because it doesn't go away. So I bought one pencil. It had that lead in it already. These other brands, this other brand by Uni is much better. And they have green, orange, pink, and purple. Green, orange, pink, purple. Yeah, I think, yeah, I don't think they have yellow. And they do make it in a 0.5 if you prefer that size, because I did buy some. I also bought a pack of this purple, but not going to use it for the purpose I wanted it for. And so I had to have matching colored barrels. So this has a blue and this has red in the uni. I'll just show you the red. Okay. Now, you might be wondering, okay, these are just regular mechanical pencils. These two are just over and above. Okay, these are mechanical pencils, but you see they're the same sort of style. What happens with these two pencils, now this is the first version that came out and this is the second version. It's called a Kuru Toga by Uni, right? And what happens is when you write with the pencil, the lead rotates in the bottom. The lead actually rotates around, and this little mark right here will move around the pencil as you're pressing down because it is rotating. This one moves slower than this one. That's the only difference, because this is the newer improved, I guess they call it engine. And what that does is it keeps your lead at a point. So, you know, if you write a lot, what will happen is the lead will form a slant if you slant your pencil, and you'll have a point there. And then you kind of, your characters look a little, your letters look a little bit fatter. This doesn't do that. It'll keep your lines nice and crisp. So this is blue. And if you'll notice, my letters are not as wide in the color. It's a subtle difference. Now, one of the things I do realize is that my handwriting, if I don't write in caps, if I write in, say, lowercase, I tend to write in a mix of cursive and regular characters. Okay, and that's just my handwriting style. I've always done it that way. This works pretty much if you're lifting your pencil to do individual letters. Okay, so when I did it for the capital, it's rotating. But if I join my letters, it's not doing that rotation because I'm not lifting the pencil to do that. So that's just something to be aware of. It's my handwriting style. It has nothing to do with anything else. But these aren't for handwriting. These are for sketching. So really cool idea. I had to go down that road. I know I don't have a red one. They don't make a red one in the pen that's in a 0.7. And I preferred the 0.7. So what did I do? I went out and also bought the 0.5. I just don't have it over here at the desk in all the different colors. And again, I just purchased it off Amazon. You don't have to have these pencils. I just thought it was neat. So that's why I'm explaining it to you. But they are made in Japan. Really cool idea. Their characters are a lot different in terms of how they form them. So there's a lot of strokes, right? And if you didn't know, obviously you don't want to mess it up and have it meaning something else. Our letters are more straightforward, I think, in that sense. So anyway, that's what I bought. Hopefully that wasn't too much rambling for you. And I hope you enjoyed my haul. And I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.